yours? Oh, yes. Well, here's a moot point if ever there was one. You may not have seen me on the telly that much recently, except if you have, you may have seen me on the news. I'm not taking over from Paxman or anything like that. I'm far too old, I think, probably. Even if I were a newsreader, I would have been replaced by somebody pretty a long time ago. But I have been called in as a spokesman, as it were, and as is so often the case, in some ways, I've got to admit, I love the opportunity of answering some of these leading questions on television, but at the same time I sort of hate it because there is never enough time. On average, you know, they go through it, we'd ask you this, we'd ask you that, what's the decline in birds, I was asked the other day. Over the last 40 years we've lost something that's in 50 million, or something, about a third of British birds have disappeared, and there's lots of different reasons for all that, and what can we do about it, etc, etc, etc. And then I say, well, I'll have a go, but how long have I got? And they'll say about 3 minutes. Well, you know, that's time enough to say hello and goodbye and not much else. So I did have a question here from somebody, I think who must have seen me on ITV quite recently, saying, what did you want to say on ITV that wasn't covered? Well, I've got a bit longer, but I need about 2 hours to really go through it. I think it's the fundamental things that I always want to get over. But they're always, the interviewer says, what can we do about it? And it's not a cynical reply if I say, it's not really a matter of what we can do about it. There are lots of things that we can do and they will help. But at the end of the day, it's the politicians and it's the people who run the big industry and developers and so on and so forth. Those are the people who actually must do something about it and can do something about it, because it's a contentious way of putting it perhaps, but you sometimes say conservation is a sort of voluntary thing. It's often that phrase is used. Most conservation environmental work is sort of voluntary. Well, it mustn't be. It mustn't be. It isn't voluntary things that really do affect what happens in the world. There have to be laws, there have to be rules, there have to be budgets, there has to be knowledge, there has to be application. It's not just, I'm not saying volunteers don't have a lot of that, but you know, it has to be an integral part of civilized living. And we ain't there yet.